Nashville's adding 86 people a day to its population, which sounds impressive until you realize something nobody's talking about. For every person moving in, someone who's been here is packing up and leaving. And they're not just leaving for random places. They're escaping to Atlanta, Miami, Charlotte, basically anywhere that doesn't have Nashville's specific problems. The growth everyone celebrates, it's actually slowing down. And the people who made Nashville what it was are quietly heading for the exits. The growth everyone talks about. Let's start with the facts. The Nashville Metro added 31,554 people in 2023, which comes at 86 people per day, and only about 20 of the 86 people added per day are from natural population changes. Everyone else is moving in from somewhere else. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Between 2020 and 2024, Tennessee saw 325,319 more people move in than out, but the growth isn't speeding up, it's actually slowing down. It peaked in 2022 with 96,477 new residents, and by 2024, that number dropped to 79,446. That's a pretty steep slide. Yes, the University of Tennessee still predicts the state will keep growing and hit 7.5 million people by 2030. But what those projections don't tell you is who's leaving. Because it's not just numbers, it's the people who made Nashville what it was before it became everyone's relocation destination. So where exactly are these people going? Where Nashvillians are actually going. U-Haul tracked one-way rentals out of Tennessee, and the data's pretty telling. Tennessee residents are leaving for 8 cities, where we rank in the top 5 origin states: Atlanta, Cincinnati, Miami, Orlando, St. Louis, Tampa, Charlotte, and Indianapolis. Then, there are another 8 cities where Tennessee cracks the top 10: Detroit, Chicago, Houston, Austin, Kansas City, Columbus, Dallas, and San Antonio. Notice the pattern? Southern cities, mostly, and Texas. Lots of Texas. Within Tennessee, most people leaving Nashville are heading to Knoxville, Chattanooga, Johnson City, basically anywhere in Tennessee that isn't Nashville. Because even staying in-state beats dealing with what Nashville's become. And honestly, when you start looking at what people are escaping from, the destinations start making perfect sense. Let's start with something everyone underestimates: the weather. The weather that nobody warned you about. People always brush this off when they're planning a move, but the weather here is legitimately one of the biggest complaints from people who leave. Summers are muggy and hot with humidity so thick you can feel it the second you step outside. Winters, on the other hand, are cold and unpredictable, and the whole year is just chaotic. Flash floods aren't rare here. They're expected. Houses don't have basements because flooding's that common. Don't believe it? Look up the 2010 Nashville flood. The entire downtown was underwater. And then there are the tornadoes. This isn't Oklahoma level bad, sure, but it's not exactly safe either. The 2020 tornado killed over 20 people, destroyed the Basement East, a beloved music venue, and left people without power for a week. Point is, Nashville's weather is the kind of thing that sounds manageable until you're living through your third summer of 90-degree days with 80% humidity. And if that wasn't enough to make daily life difficult, wait until you experience what happens when you actually try to go somewhere. Traffic that makes you question everything. The traffic situation here will absolutely make you question everything. Mayor Joe Pitts spent 3 hours driving 80 miles through traffic that shouldn't exist. That's the same time it takes to drive from Nashville to Birmingham, and Birmingham's 180 miles away. Yeah, let's talk about why that actually happened. The infrastructure here was built for a small city with a big town feel, and now we've got a big city population with small town roads. Nashville's actually ranked as the worst city for commuting in America. Not top 5, not top 10, the worst. A city with this kind of traffic nightmare would at least have alternatives, right? That brings us to the public transportation situation, or more accurately, the complete lack of it. Public transportation that doesn't exist. We've got WeGo buses and the WeGo Star commuter rail between Nashville and Lebanon. That's about it. Most residents depend on cars, which loops us right back to the traffic problem. The city's growing like crazy, but the infrastructure acts like we're still a mid-sized southern town. If you're coming from New York, Chicago, or any city with actual public transportation, Nashville's gonna feel like you traveled back in time. And those cars everyone depends on? Well, Nashville's doing its best to destroy them. Roads that destroy your car. The streets here are genuinely terrible. Between roads not being wide enough for current traffic and constant bumps and potholes, driving in Nashville is an expensive hobby. You'll spend more on tire alignments and suspension repairs than you ever expected. There's not much else to say except prepare your car and your wallet. Both are gonna take a beating. So you're dealing with brutal weather, nightmare traffic, non-existent public transit, and roads that destroy your car. Nashville makes up for all of this with affordability. The cost of living nobody mentions up front. Well, here's the thing. Affordability really depends on where you're coming from. If you're moving from California, Nashville feels like a steal. You can get a decent place for $1,000 to $1,500 a month. And that sounds amazing compared to Bay Area prices. But if you're coming from literally anywhere else, small towns, cheaper cities, even other parts of Tennessee, Nashville's expensive. The median home price sits around $524,670, with rent averaging $1,576. That's high compared to Chattanooga, Memphis, and Knoxville. And yeah, Tennessee doesn't have state income tax, which is excellent. But the 7% sales tax and rising property taxes balance that out pretty quickly. Now look, if you're finding this breakdown helpful and you want more honest takes on cities without the sugarcoating, do me a favor and hit that like button. And if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe, because we're just getting started with what nobody tells you about living in the South. The tourism double-edged sword. And speaking of things people don't tell you, let's talk about tourism, because it makes everything exponentially worse. Nashville gets flooded with tourists year-round. Bachelorette parties, conventions, music fans, all of them clogging roads, taking parking spots, and turning downtown into a permanent party zone. If you live here, tourism stops being fun pretty quick. It becomes the reason you can't park near your apartment, or why your commute takes 30 minutes longer on weekends. And all those tourists, they're contributing to a lifestyle problem that catches newcomers completely off guard. Everything closes early. So you finally get through a day of traffic, bad roads, and tourist crowds, and you want to grab a late dinner or do some shopping? Good luck with that. Besides bars and Broadway, almost everything closes by 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. Even Broadway bars shut down at 2:30 a.m., which is early compared to cities that actually stay up late. If you're coming from Vegas, Miami, New York, or anywhere with real nightlife, Nashville's gonna feel like it goes to bed with the kids. But don't worry, your neighbors will keep you up anyway, because here's the ironic part about moving to Music City. The Music City problem. You get exactly what you signed up for, and somehow it's still too much. You moved to Music City expecting music everywhere, and you get it. It's too much of it. And here's the frustrating part. People moved next to music venues, then file noise complaints. Like they forgot they moved to a city literally nicknamed Music City. If loud music and musician neighbors aren't your thing, Nashville's probably not your place. Or at least, not downtown Nashville. The constant noise isn't the only thing that catches people off guard, though. There's another environmental factor that hits transplants hard: allergies. The allergy situation that blindsides people. This one catches people completely off guard, especially if you've never had allergy problems before. Pollen, mold, humidity, all of it builds up with nowhere to go. The humidity makes mold grow everywhere. A local doctor once said every building in Tennessee has mold. It's just a matter of where and how much. And if you're going downtown, those old buildings have all been underwater at some point. So yeah, they definitely have mold. If you've got severe allergies, Nashville's gonna be rough. Like, really rough. And for families considering the move, there's another serious concern that needs to be on your radar: the education problem. Metro Nashville public schools consistently rank below state and national averages on test scores. Most Nashville residents hold negative views of the public school system, which isn't great for families considering a move. There are some bright spots: Hume Fogg High School, Martin Luther King Jr. High School, and charter schools throughout Valor Collegiate Academics. But overall, if you're moving here with kids and counting on public schools, you'll want to do serious research first. Between the quality of life issues, the costs, and the infrastructure problems, you'd think Nashville would at least retain the intangible charm that made people fall in love with it in the first place. Unfortunately, that's disappearing too. The southern charm that's fading. Nashville used to be a friendly city. People are getting out of their cars to help push crashed vehicles off the highway. Strangers saying they'd pray for you in parking lots because you were limping. That's gone now, or at least it's fading fast. Nashville feels like any other urban area. The southern hospitality that made it special is being swallowed by rapid growth and transplant culture. The city's losing the thing that made people fall in love with it in the first place, the bottom line. So, let's pull all of this together, because when you see the full picture, it's pretty telling. The Nashville MSA grew by 31,554 in 2023, which is significant, but the growth rate is slowing, and the people who made Nashville what it was are leaving for cities that offer better infrastructure, more affordable housing, and fewer headaches. The irony? Nashville's becoming a victim of its own success. The city everyone wanted to move to is now the city people want to leave. The growth that was supposed to make everything better is actually making everything worse. And honestly, if you're thinking about moving to Nashville, you need to know all of this. The actual, day-to-day reality of living in a city that's growing too fast, charging too much, and losing the charm that made it special in the first place. Because at the end of the day, those U-Haul trucks leaving for Atlanta, Miami, and Charlotte, they're full of people who learned all of this the hard way. So after breaking down the real reasons people are fleeing Nashville, here's what I want to know. Are you thinking about moving here, or are you one of the people planning your escape? Drop your answer in the comments. If this video gave you the unfiltered truth about Nashville that nobody else talks about, go ahead and hit that subscribe button.